What's up, guys? It's Big Dubs. Today, I have a dungeon tier list. Dungeons and raids are the best activities in the game. I won't listen to anybody else who says something different. The scoring will be going off my personal opinion, but didn't want to be selfish, so I asked my Discord community as well. Links in the bio. And the numbers are in, so let's get this started. First, let's start with Shattered Throne. Yes, this is the first dungeon that was ever added into Destiny 2, and it nails the atmosphere. But sadly, this dungeon shows its age. No rally flags, secret chests that drop blues, or Queen's tinfoil. The Wishender quest is fine, but it just suffers from our guardians being so strong and being able to one phase all the bosses with only primary weapons. This is a really great dungeon to solo, though. If you're new to soloing, it would be probably a good starting point. The first encounter is really slow, I think, too, which is a little bit of a bummer. And I feel like if you have a good build, anybody can get this done solo flawless. So my community voted, and 8% of them said that this was their favorite dungeon. So, on that note, I am going to give it a C. I gave it a C because, yes, it sets the tone, but I don't really have any need for any of the loot. The encounters are just kind of showing their age. But I do have to say, though, that this probably has one of the strongest atmospheres in any of the dungeons. All right, now let's get into talking about Grasp of Avarice. Everybody, I feel like, has ran Grasp of Avarice already because they were wanting the sweet Galahorn. So I have to say that every encounter is very awesome. I even really enjoy the Burdens of Riches buff as well. But the second encounter, the one with the cannons, right, is just the only thing weighing this dungeon down. Coming right off of the Epic Sparrow section, you are just now shooting servitor shells at the objective in the middle. I could do without this encounter after doing it the first few times, but taking newer players through this dungeon in general is always a great time, and making them hit the traps and everything is just always funny. My community rated this dungeon very, very high, at 25% of them saying this was their favorite. I am going to set it in a A. I honestly like it. The only thing that's bad about it is the cannon part, maybe. I mean, I feel like the PvP loot in this is honestly really good, and you get a meta exotic within Galahorn, as well as an ornament and a catalyst. So it just gives a little bit of replayability, and this all in all is a solid dungeon. This dungeon also I feel like is a really good one to solo, and I feel like if you don't dip your toes into the water at the boss fight or your sparrow doesn't explode in the racing section, then you're golden. And you'll have an amazing time solo flawlessing this dungeon. All right, now let's talk about Pit of Heresy. Okay, let's talk about it. Honestly, everything that is Hive theme always looks epic, and this dungeon is no different. Diving into the pit is honestly still cool, and just being able to see all the boss on the bottom is just amazing. This is also a great dungeon to solo. Um, I honestly feel like this is a better experience solo than with a fire team. This is probably between difficulty of Shattered Throne and Grasp of Avarice. It's like right in the middle. Um, because some of the platforming sections could be just a bit rough. Some people die just from falling, but Bungie has fixed that, so you're hopefully going to be just 1 HP now. And I honestly think that the final boss is a really good armor farm, and it's still a legit way to get good stats, which is great for those that don't want to just go to the war table and just re-roll engrams over and over again and want to feel like they've actually earned the armor by doing an encounter. Can you believe that 25% of my community voted that this is their favorite dungeon? It's kind of hard to figure out where I'm gonna put this, but I think it goes right beside Shattered Throne at a C. So we're just gonna place that there. And yeah, okay. Prophecy. Now this is such a great quote unquote free to play dungeon. The atmosphere in this dungeon is amazing, and Rainbow Road is the best vista in Destiny 2. Get one of your friends that doesn't play Destiny and bring them here. I still love the light and dark moats. Yeah, you will be standing in the darkest corner and still get a light moat. Or, yeah, it's Gambit the dungeon. But still, I love this dungeon and it's a great challenge to solo. And honestly, I feel like Bungie should design more chase bosses like the boss in this dungeon. You know how he's on the plates and he's moving away from you and he's throwing the Captain Blight at you. I really think that's honestly like one of the best designed bosses in my opinion. And it's a really solid fight even to this day. The armor looks great. The weapons are honestly great. And what more can you ask for? It's free. I am very sad to inform you guys though that as now nobody voted this favorite dungeon besides me. So I'm gonna put this in B because hey, I make the rules here. So okay, now duality. Oh my gosh, I can talk about duality forever probably because duality is my most cleared dungeon of all time. So I've been waiting for this one. The lore of this dungeon honestly is great, and it's nice that we actually lost in this dungeon, leading to Callus becoming a disciple of the Witness. The only thing that I could say that I use swords pretty much for two and sometimes even three of these encounters if we're running all hunters and no wells. But the mechanics are so good, and I feel like it actually takes practice to nail this dungeon solo. Only two people voted for this to be their favorite dungeon, probably because this dungeon was super buggy on release. But I love this dungeon. I don't care what anybody says. This is a S plus dungeon. So the reason why it's an S plus is because the loot when this came out was meta defining. I was glued to my Storm Chaser forever. And before Bungie kind of rebalanced Artifice armor spikes, you were pretty much guaranteed a plus 20 spike on one stat, like on any piece you got, which is just insane. And the dungeon exotic is fine. I might just be a little bit salty because I just got the dungeon exotic about 3 weeks ago. And I don't really use it over Lament at all because Lament's just so good. But I do have to say that the right click animation is beautiful, like the blights that come out. And I also like that the catalyst isn't just like Archer's tempo rapid hit or something like that. It's actually like kind of an ability that makes you run faster while invisible. So it's actually like more of a utility, not just adding a perk. And yeah, I have to say that this is my favorite dungeon, if you couldn't tell. And I love this dungeon. And I always run it whenever I get a chance. And I've sherped so many people through here, met a lot of friends through this dungeon. So, okay. Spire of the Watcher. The newest dungeon that we have, a Vex dungeon, the first one that we've gotten. Truly unique bosses. Oh, yeah, they reused the boss from Garden. But all the other ones are unique, right? But anyways, the mechanics in this dungeon are just connect the dots and it's very easy to pick up. When I Sherpa this, I just tell people connect the dots. If it turns blue, that's good. If it stays yellow, it's bad. Then they proceed to get the mech down in about 5 seconds. So the solo experience on this isn't really too bad. I feel like if you have a solid build, you can go in here, get it done. You don't feel like you're grinding quote unquote old content by doing Shattered Throne or Pit of Heresy. The final boss is honestly cool. It's the best part of the dungeon, but on day one, I felt like when I got to the boss, I just started settling into the dungeon. Then I was like, oh, now it's over. The harpies are annoying at times. I'm glad that Bungie nerfed them a little bit. And the exotic honestly is good. And the catalyst really makes it come online. This is a kind of time where Archer's Temple actually is really good on that, opposed to what I was talking about in Duality. And I asked my community, is this your favorite dungeon? And a whopping 50% of people said this is their favorite dungeon. That's half of everybody that voted. And I do have to admit, this dungeon was not buggy on release, unlike Duality. And I still run this every week, and I just come here with my friends to chill and test out my builds. And that also is an A right now. So, if you noticed, no dungeon is less than a C, which is actually honestly a testament to the dungeon design in Destiny, right? That no dungeon is just like bad. All of them have their place. Some have, better loot than others. Some have a better atmosphere than others. But all of them all just make Destiny what it is, and I wouldn't have it any other way. And, you know, they're the best activity in the game, for sure. And I'm so excited to see what kind of dungeon we're gonna get in Season of the Deep. I really have no idea what's coming, but I mean, maybe we get another Duality. But I'm just biased here. Now, thank you for joining me on my tier list video. Let me know which one is your favorite, or if I messed up some of these rankings, let me know. And if you're like, hey, I've never did any of these dungeons, I don't even know what he's talking about, I do have a Discord and I help people all the time. It's in the description. Join the Discord, and then we might have a few more polls coming up. I might be doing a tip for each dungeon video, like one tip for each dungeon. Or I might do like a raid tier list or something like that. And yeah, please like, comment, subscribe, do all the YouTube stuff, and share it with your friends, and so they could see like, bro, he totally scuffed that tier list. What is he talking about? And I'll see you in the next one, guys. Have a great day. See ya.